Okay, thank you, Rob. Thank you for joining us on the Art of Health and Wealth. I mean, I could do 3 or 4 podcasts with you because of your experience and your success. So forgive me for jumping around a bit from subject to subject, but I kind of wanted to give my listeners a bit of an overview of you. So we might jump around topics a little bit, if that's okay. But I guess I just wanted to start off with really asking you, what are your 3 predictions for post-lockdown? I mean, I know we're coming out of the lockdown now, but what are your, especially for the economy, what are your 3 top predictions for how the economy will go, what it is implying for the housing market, and that kind of thing?
Okay, so I don't do predictions,
Okay.
and I don't give advice when it comes to the market, the economy. What I do is share what, if I were backing myself, what I would do. Because I think there's a lot of people who want to predict out there, and that's fine. Some people will get things right, some people get things wrong. But I guess humble's probably not the right word, but I guess I'm grounded enough to know that there's so many things I don't know. And there's so many intricacies and nuances of any market that no one's going to fully understand. So, for example, the housing market generally is quite strong at the moment. I don't think anyone predicted that. Apple have just been, I think, the first company at the moment, although the second company ever, to reach a $2 trillion valuation. Mm-hmm. No one would have predicted that. I think Tim Cook has had more growth in Apple than Steve Jobs has done. No one probably would have predicted that. So I'm not going to predict anything. I'm going to give you my opinion.
Okay, fine.
And I'm not really comfortable with expert or anything like that. I just do what I do and hope that I can help people. So I feel like there has to be some knock-on effect of what's probably the most unprecedented blindside disruption to business, to the economy, and to markets that we've ever had. I mean, the potential implication of what's happened could be on the level of a small war. Unemployment could be really big because loads of retail giants are going bust. The furloughing was a really good idea, I think, because it kept companies going and it kept employment going. But now they're reducing how much they'll cover for staff not working. Companies have to decide, okay, who are we unfurloughing, when, and which staff are we going to retain and which staff are we going to have to let go? And for many industries that are going to have a dramatically reduced turnover, travel absolutely decimated, retail absolutely decimated. Conversely, of course, online e-commerce, home delivery dramatically increased. So there's always a seesaw effect. You know, money doesn't just disappear, it just moves. So demand goes from one place to another. So I'm not completely doom-mongerish on this. The next thing is all the VAT and the corp tax and the personal tax that the government allowed business owners to delay. And, you know, normally you'd be paying around about now in July. Okay, we're a bit beyond that now, but about we normally pay our personal tax middle of the year and start of the year. And the government allowed you to delay it till next year. Then there's all the loans. Okay, there's some grants, but not everyone got those. But then there's all the loans. And all of this has got to come out.
Yeah.
And so all these people making predictions that it's going to be the highest unemployment ever and, you know, the biggest crash and the biggest recession ever. A lot of people have been criticizing that because that hasn't happened. But I would just say it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, do you think it's going to be sort of the end of the year when furlough takes place? When furlough ends?
Yeah, so it's probably not the most elegant analogy, but everything is constipated at the moment. So if you think about all of this money that's got to be paid back to the government in the form of VAT and taxes, corp, personal, all the loans, the furloughing, that's all going to have to come out in the end.
Yeah.
The housing market is definitely constipated because for the whole of the lockdown, there were no transactions. And now they're starting, and the housing market's had a mini boom or a mini spike. But that's just because suppliers come out again. But of course, once those lack of transactions play out, property is always a few months behind the stock market, which is really liquid.
Yeah.
But housing is way more liquid. It can take 6 months to sell a house.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been saying to people, keep viewing properties, keep viewing businesses if you're looking to buy distressed businesses, but just take your time making your offers, and probably expect maybe in the next 6 to 12 months for things to really start to drop. Mm-hmm. Because I do think they will, because of all of this constipation in all the markets.
Okay, great. Thank you for that, Rob. So do you think that people use this as a catalyst to spend more money? Say they were on furlough and they got made redundant. Do you think they'll use this as a catalyst to become more entrepreneurial? Do you think they'll spend more money on courses, on mentoring to, grow their skills and become an entrepreneur? Do you think that will push that forward?
I think it's a great opportunity to. Now, the difficulty when we talk about general things like people or markets is we've got individuals within those. Mm-hmm. So, a single mum with 3 children, homeschooling them, she hasn't necessarily had 43 hours a week to invest in herself and do training and education and courses. You're smiling there, Tam. You know how that feels.
Yeah.
But someone who was furloughed and is getting paid their full wage, and then they can go and do some of their own home education, do online courses and skill up and get a new trade as an entrepreneur. So I can't make a full generalization, but if anyone has had some time freed up in the lockdown, or it's been a shock to them and they've realized, actually, I don't have security and I need to control my own destiny, my own business model, my own employment, my own financial future, then of course the lockdown is a great opportunity to do that. It's the shock that maybe you needed, that kick up the arse that maybe you needed, the motivation that you needed, maybe a bit of the pain that you needed, because sometimes comfort is the enemy of success and it's the enemy of greatness. So as long as you can forge some time, look, you can look at the lockdown one of two ways: that business has been really hard and it's been the worst time, and I just want to write off 2020 and get over it and bring on 2021. Or you can look at the lockdown and go, do you know what? I learned a lot of valuable lessons. I learned never to be reliant on one income stream. Absolutely. I learned that I need to control my own employment. I learned that the only thing you can be ready for is what you can't be ready for. Because you can protect from a recession, you can protect from a downturn in the market, you can protect from a disruption, a legal case, because these are known unknowns. But a lockdown is an unknown unknown. And really the best planning you can do is for the unknown unknowns. And that is having access to cash, whether it's your own cash or sort of, being lend worthy, so people will lend to you. It's seeing the upside opportunity and the downside. So I want to buy some letting agencies. I want to buy some training businesses. They haven't quite dropped yet, but they will, or I believe that they will. And, I want to see the lockdown. Yes, it was a hard time, but I want to see it as maybe the greatest opportunity in I was going to say in the last 15 years, probably, since 2008, at least, the last recession. Mm-hmm, because these opportunities to find new clients, to evolve into a new market, to solve a new problem, they don't come around so dramatically that frequently. And they're not often forced upon you like they have been now. My pleasure.